Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Money Cured Podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Sean Grant, Reverend Sean Robert Grant, author of The Money Cure, creator of the Money Cured Podcast. Yeah, give me a round of applause, though. So happy to be back with you. Thank you so much, guys, first and foremost, for all of your support and your downloads across the globe. It is a magical, truly magical, wonderful thing to see that unfold the way that it has. And once again, I promise to continually put more and more uplifting, inspiring, insightful content out for you whenever I get the opportunity. Just got back to it today, so definitely miss hanging out here with you guys, but thank you for continuing to support throughout the last month and a half or so. It's been absolutely wonderful to see that each week as the stats come out. So let's get into today's message, which is a big one. But first, we'll talk about, if you have any questions, any feedback, any comments, any type of anything you want to share with us here at the Money Cure Podcast, please write to shaung04@gmail.com, and we will get back with you as soon as we possibly can. So with that being said, thank you so much. I'm your host, Reverend Sean Robert Grant. Today's message, like I said, it's a big one, and it's a big one because it changes the game completely with everything. And the reason it changes the game is because it enables us to see, it enables us to be completely and utterly aware of a truth that has been looming over our lives for some time, yet because of the trauma that we've experienced, because of the certain types of conditioning and everything that we've been imbued in, and I'm not talking about everybody, but chances are if you're listening to this podcast, you've had some trauma around the idea of what money is and what it means to you. But the one thing you probably hadn't heard is that you are more valuable than money. Yes, you are more valuable than money. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's been a while since I've been here, so I really want to rehash. When you really think about what money is, okay, money is the expression, the energy that is basically an expression of what our core vibration and frequency is and where it resonates at. That's what money shows up as, okay? It is a byproduct of what's within us. So when I give you those definitions, and that's the short definition of it, when I give you those definitions, and I tell you what it is, immediately, the thing that pops in my head is that, it's not the money that's valuable. It's me. It's me. It's me that's valuable. Why? Because money is just an expressed entity of me, an expression of energy, of my own personal energy. That is all that it is. So when I know and I understand that I am the catalyst to the amount that shows up, I take my focus off of that. And what do? I make sure that my energy, right? I make sure that my energy resonates at a high vibration, a high frequency, to be able to manifest the money that I need. And here's the beauty of this. This happens automatically according to the law of money. You know what the law of money is? The law of money states that you will have exactly every amount of money you need to live your life as authentically and freely as you possibly can. That means every penny that needs to show up to help you to live authentically will come in an abundant capacity in order for you to do that, in order for you to realize the truth of that. That in every sense of the word shows you right there that you are more valuable. There is a law, right? Another law of abundance in place that assures you, right, that everything is here to support you, right? Everything sounds like Mike Tyson. Every single thing in creation is used to support you. And if you don't believe that, it's because somebody has told you something that's not on point with the truth. Everything, everyone, as well as you are here to support everyone that you can. Every part of creation is meant to support you, and money's not excluded from that. So we got to think about this. If the divine dedicated that amount of energy used to support me in my most authentic and sincere and genuine endeavors of this life, isn't it just telling me right off the bat, you are the most valuable thing to walk this planet? Isn't it relaying that message to me? Hasn't it been trying to tell me that message my entire life? Yet, if you're like me, you decided to listen to everybody else, all the other fools that were chasing money, right? And chasing the idea that you got to work for this. I shouldn't call them fools, but, you know, we're being authentic here, right? But they may not be fools, but in a way it's foolish, right? Why would I chase the very thing that God decided that I was going to have in order to live my life? You see, you got to really think about these questions, because when we begin to think, all of a sudden our consciousness begins to open up. And when our consciousness opens up, the ideas begin to fall in that let us know, oh crap, this ain't what I thought it was. This belief does not serve me anymore. There's a higher, more resonant, aligned belief that shows me that I am the real value. Now I'm going to tell you something. Just as everything in creation supports you, you got to come to a place of consciousness where you understand that on a deeper subconscious level, because until you do, you'll realize everything in creation from an advertising standpoint is meant to take you down. It's meant to diminish you as opposed to build you up. You see, the thing is, with so much marketing, and people don't necessarily mean it, but in a way it comes across as this, right? So I'm on my Instagram, and for a while, for me, Instagram was always just about looking at inspiring content. But there's so much of it now, and there's so much from the standpoint of everyone making me feel as if I'm lacking in some sort of capacity, right? Not everyone, but a lot of the stuff is in some way, shape, or form telling me that I'm not good enough, telling me that my life needs to be different. And so guess what? If I hear enough of that, I'm going to start to feel inadequate, right? I'm going to start to feel inadequate. And I plead the fifth. I've done this before. When we begin to tell people how they need more money, they need to manifest more money, you know what we actually wind up doing? We actually tell them that they are inadequate unless they have a certain amount of money, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with having large sums of money, but the reality is you got to understand that your value is way higher than that expressed energy as you. You got to realize that, but nobody tells you, right? They tell you, do this job so you can make all this money, right? Do it this way and then you can make all this money. Do this to manifest all this money, right? Does anybody ever say, do this to raise your value? Do this to raise your self-worth. Do this to expand the amount of self-love within you. Because that type of stuff shows you that you are more valuable than money and everything else. And it's a remarkable shift, transformation, revelation that happens when we go deeper and we begin to see how the universe actually works and how it unfolds and what it does to enable us to be the very best that we can be. And that's what it comes down to. And if you seek first the kingdom, and basically all this is going within, if you seek the essence of who you are, the I amness, the God in you, every day, this will be revealed to you in a way that you can understand it. It will be revealed to you in a way where you can not only understand it, but you can implement it because you're moving from that space. I was in prayer the other day, and the divine relayed to me, says, live by grace. Don't live by money. Live by grace. And I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? It says that you live your life based on following what your intuition guides you to do, and you can count on the money being there, being available for you at all times. And don't get hung up on how it shows up, because it can show up in a multitude of ways. Refuse to get hung up on it, but know that you are the value, and that because you are the value, creation is going to support you, and it's going to continue to support you. And even when it looks bleak, sometimes we can just completely distort this law that works impersonally, but more importantly, to our benefit. We can just do everything possible to distort it with our consciousness and how we think, and then it still operates for us. It still provides for us. Yes, it's a bit more difficult, but it still finds a way to give us everything we need that helps us to function on the highest level of authenticity. Everything I've everything I've expanded on, yes, but everything I've explained in that 12 minutes tells us who the real value is, what the real value is. And you're going to get off this podcast, and you're going to go out, you might pick up your phone, and guess what? Something might initially tell you, oh, you're not complete unless you have this. You're not your best unless you can do this. You see, we have put so much, myself included, right? I had to remove the veil and see the light. We put so much on what we see on the outside that we don't even take the time to really begin to think, where's the value in this, right? Where is the value? And I'm saying, it's great to have nice things, because who doesn't like nice things? But when the nice things begin to own you, that's when we have some issues. When you begin to define yourself based on what you wear, when you begin to define yourself based on what you drive, where you live, what you have, possessions and all that stuff, those things have already taken your value. And the reality is, nothing can take your value unless you give it away. And that's what so much of the advertising, so much of the inundation of data. You go to one of these big cities, and there's consistent, hell, it's probably even in the small cities now, but there's consistent advertising telling you you're not worthy, telling you you're not enough unless you have this, right? What if, just what if, the divine was attempting to tell us, you are more than enough and you don't need any of it, right? You could be sitting outside with a bucket and no place to live, and you are completely worthy and enough and have everything you need. And there's no need to fight and push and scrummage and move mountains and everything else, trying to be something that someone else led you to believe that you needed to be. And that's where the core of this message comes from, because if we can't discover our value, who will? Nothing outside of us is ever going to give us real value. Nothing in the material manifested world can ever give us any value, not even our relationships. We've got to be valuable first within before our relationships can actually prosper and become those things that can potentially bring us joy. But other than that, it can't give you what you're looking for can only be found within yourself. And when you know that, once again, you discover the true power that has always been there, that has been placed there by the divine to help you to know who the real value is. And that's you. That's the I amness within you. Because you see, you are the awareness of everything. You are not these things. You are the awareness of these things, which means you are observing them. And when you know that, you have a couple choices here when you know you're the awareness of them. You can attempt to possess, but everything you attempt to possess in the material world will always slip through your fingers because it's impossible to possess something that's ultimately and spiritually an illusion, right? You can attempt to possess it, or you can attempt to accept it as it is, allow yourself to live and coexist with it, allow it to teach you, allow it to influence, right, in a lot of ways, what it is that's going on inside of you. That's what the ultimately the material world is a reflection because it's the greatest teacher. And it teaches us better than anything else can, because the reality is we can't lie about what we're vibrating, no matter what it is, right? I could stand here and tell you I'm as successful in an exponential level, but then you look at my life and it doesn't match up. I can't lie about that. Why? Because the universe is infallible in that sense. It will never lie. It will always depict what is happening within one's consciousness. Okay, not to get too far off, but the understanding is that's an opportunity for us to learn from what is happening and what is unfolding in the material world, right? And when we know, wait a minute, it's just a reflection. It's just a huge mirror. Once again, we realize we are the value. It's like money. If we realize the amount of money we have, the amount of debt we have, the amount of anything in regards to financial is a mirror to the consciousness of what we're holding true within ourselves, what's the first thing we do? Okay, let's learn from this. Let's learn from this shit. Let's really see what it's telling us. Let's really take a moment to say, okay, you know what? What can I do? Right? What can I do to allow myself to be in a better position to experience what this is what I'm mirroring, basically? How can I learn from this? And how can I increase my value? Right? And better yet, you know what? It's not even a case of increasing. You don't need to increase anything because you're perfect the way you are. You want to learn from it and figure out how you can uncover your value, right? Because no matter what happens on the outside, you're always going to be valuable. There's nothing that can take away or diminish your value unless you allow it to. Whether you have $2, whether you have $2 million or $200 million, it makes no difference. The value will always be the same unless we allow it to be changed in our thoughts, in our feelings about ourselves. Other than that, we'll always be valuable. We'll always be valuable. And so to wrap this up, once we know that we're always going to be valued, and we know about the law of money and the law of abundance, and we know that we're always going to be supported, then the real fun happens, right? The real fun happens because we can take all of our energy and then put it into doing what we truly want to do, what we truly feel most authentic doing. And that's going to be an endless source of joy. And you know what's going to happen? Because this is a Money Cure podcast. all the money you could ever need, sometimes even more, is going to flow in because that energy you're giving off, that you're exuding, is so authentic. And money is magnetized to authenticity. It doesn't discriminate, but if you're authentic and you're following the truth of who you are, money will be magnetized to that. It's going to pour in like nobody's business. It's going to flow in an avalanche because of that authenticity and because of you realizing that the real value is you, right? Do you think LeBron James would be a billionaire if he didn't understand that he was the real value, not the basketball, not the team, not the money, not the accolades and the endorsements, right? It wouldn't work unless he knew he was the real value. And same with every other, person who's done really well or has been, truly successful. You can see that. Michael Jordan's a perfect example. There's no way he would be where he is today if he thought for a second, oh, the value's in the basketball, the value's in the money, the value's in the commercials, the value's in the endorsement. No, Mike knew the value was in him. Basketball was his medium, right? Basketball was his channel. And he used that to display the real value. So before I leave you, I ask you, now that you know you're the real value, right? What's your medium? What's your channel? And a medium is just, it's a messenger, right? It's a message that you've been designed to give. Find that out. You will never, ever worry about money ever again in your life when you find out what your medium is and you understand you are the true value and ultimately you are more valuable than money. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It has been a wonderful episode in time for me to be here with you. If you have any questions, once again, please write to us, shaung04@gmail.com. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Shout out to everybody across the globe listening in. Thank you so much. If you know anybody that could benefit from this podcast, please share it with them. Don't hesitate. And continue to listen in. We'll keep continuing to bring the content. Thank you so much for being here today, guys. Have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you are. Enjoy it, and we will talk soon. Thanks so much. Take care.